I'm very optimistic about where the world will be 50 years from now. I hope I'm around to see it, but I think we can already see the shape of things in some ways. The human population, which was growing at a very rapid rate, is now growing at a slower rate because as we become successful, families have chosen to have less children. And so we can see a peak population that makes it possible to think about living within the resource constraints that we have. We can also see a decline in violence. It's amazing now because we hear about all the violent things around the world, but every century the world has had a lot less war, a lot less violent deaths.
Shalom. First, I want to start off by giving all great honor to YAHAWAH, YAHWAH, and Kakadash. Double honor to Jesus, elders, and apostles, great most soul, and Christ, brothers, but the truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep of the brothers and sisters. Tuning in, Shalom. Today's lesson's title: The Lord Can Destroy Esau at Will. Now, you saw in that opening clip of that pompous freak, BG, or Bill Gates, just proud as hell, and I put that scripture up there just, for those of you who are new to tuning into the ministry, we are not to boast of tomorrow because we don't know what the Lord has planned for us. And, you're dealing with the most proudest creation on this earth, which is the so-called white man. And, you hear him talking all this foolishness. And two things stood out with me. Was one he said about resource constraints, and a decline in violence, which is far from the truth. In fact, let's go into 2 Ezra 16 and 21, and I'm going to move into some other scriptures. It reads, "Behold, victuals should be so good cheap upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy." So there's no decline in violence. In fact, the violence is increasing. Take a look at what the president of the United States is doing over there in the Strait of Hormuz. That's violence. People are starving to death. You have people who are being killed by bombs, missiles, whatever the case is like that. I guess the so-called white man doesn't count, when they put embargoes or put, stop countries from trading with a certain country, and it caused the collapse of that country's economy, which impacts the people or the citizens of that country, where, they have no running water, no electricity, no food, no schools for education, all that stuff. I guess they don't count that as, part of that violence, which is perpetrated by the so-called white man. But, we're not going to keep running on with that because, let's go into the scriptures and talk about exactly, the fate of these Edomites, And, you have Bill Gates talk about, well, I hope I'm living around for 50 more years. The future of America and the future for you so-called white people is very grim. Grimmer than we can even begin to describe. And so that's the reason why we let the scriptures do the talking. This is the book of Job 20 and verse 4. It reads, "Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? And though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, Where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night." So there's Esau's future right there. This man has a limited time to do what he's doing. And this is the reason why they could be so proud. I mean, you think of how merciful, the Most High YAHWAH is, the fact that he gave this man the blessing, the dew of heavens. I mean, a great sword to conquer every nation on this earth, to subdue his people that he loved the best, which is what the biblical Hebrew Israelites. And this man is taking full advantage of that to the point to where he don't even believe, there is a higher power than him, because he doesn't experience hell or judgments like other men do. We get it in increments, but you have other tribes that are constantly under judgment, which we are, because we're here in Great Babylon, America, and scattered across this earth, facing oppression and basically persecution and everything else like that. And we're still in bondage, in reality, because we're not in our land that's been promised to us. which we know that Mashiach, when he returns, he's going to place us there. Let's go into the book of Psalms 37, verse 7. It reads, Rest in the Lord, Yahawah Shema, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. And Esau, he can do that. He can bring his devices to pass. He can write legislation. He can change his laws, to suit his needs, to continuously lay snare for the children of Israel, and, what is it that we can do about it? Nothing, okay, except wait for the Lord, Yahawah Shema, okay, to deliver us from this man. Continue to say, cease from anger and forsake wrath, fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. For evildoers should be cut off, but those that wait upon the Lord, Yahawah Shema, they shall inherit the earth. So we can't raise an army to go against this man. It isn't means you can do self-defense if one of these Edomites or so-called white people decide they want to kick your door down. And I'm not talking law enforcement. I'm talking about just some of these regular, six-pack, beer drinking, smoking Joe that, want to come into your house and think that they can string you and your family up from a tree. No, you do what a bro supposed to do, okay? Defend your household. Continue, it says, for yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plot against the just, and gnash it upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. So Yahushua, the Mashiach, he's waiting. Okay, he wants to get vengeance too. Look what they did to him. Beat him, strip him, and shamed him. All those things, and 2/3 of our people joined them with these Edomites, okay? And this is the reason why, despite the fact that this man can kick Jake's butt, Jake would always go crawl on his belly back to this man and listen to this man and his foolishness. This is the same man in the opening clip there, Bill Gates, who came up with the V9, okay, the vaccine, okay, and told people that they have to take that, and this man has no medical background whatsoever. And yet still people just, and I'm talking about our people just followed it because why? Because he's so-called rich. Who cares? Okay, he's still a moron and he's a wicked old devil. And the prophets came out and diligently, okay, warned the children of Israel of not bowing the knee to this man's, desires, which is to have him inject you with that doggone venom. Okay, let's go into Proverbs 16 and start verse 2. It reads, all the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord Yahawah Shema weighed the spirit. They think that they're doing a great thing from the perspective of a worldwide view. Okay, if you were carnal and you were still in the world, when this man would speak, you go, oh yeah, okay, I can understand that. The statistics is right, only the people who contributing society should be, benefiting from it. And they sell you the song and dance. If you go to school, like business school or whatever, cases like that, you couldn't write a paper without having the mention of, people like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, or Steve Jobs, these are the big players out there, who was it, Jack Welch from, GE, these are the big players, okay, and so they're idolized on this earth as the, basically the symbol of success, so to speak. It says, commit thy works unto the Lord Yahawah Shema, and thy thoughts should be established. The Lord Yahawah Shema had made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord Yahawah Shema. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. So there's a punishment that's coming. Keep in mind, like I said, the Lord Yahawah Shema, okay, he can destroy Esau at will, okay, but Esau has a particular role on this earth that he has to fulfill, and we'll go into that. Continuing on in Malachi 4:1, it reads, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly, should be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, said the Lord of hosts, Yahawah Shema, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. So the kingdom is going to be destroyed. But, as you can see in the animation here, time is ticking to when these nations are going to rise up, and pelt this place with nuclear missiles, and destroy this place. And this place is going to be, basically a reminder to the world in the future, which is the real future that's coming, okay, of how not to be wicked, okay? Let's go in the book of Job 14 and start verse 4 reads, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. These guys, like Bill Gates, they talk about, what they're going to do and try and improve the world. But the fact is that they were created to be evil, created to do the evil works that we see. And nothing that they do, even if they try to make it good, it just comes out evil. Because why? They're evil. All right? Continue to say, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months of a D, that was appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Turn from him that he may rest till he shall accomplish as a hireling his day. Esau on the left hand side of the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is doing the bidding of the Lord Yahweh Shemashai. Hence, when you look at this picture here or this animation, you can see Esau's civilization, his kingdom, everything that he's proud of is really in the hands of the Lord Yahweh Shemashai. Now think of it, and I had the AI do this at a scale of, the fact that he can just crush it. He can destroy it anytime he wants, recreate anything he wants. Okay, so Esau, you're not in charge of anything. So all that boasting and talking shit is just, it's frivolous. Okay, when we go into Revelation 18 and verse 7, you can see the boasting spirit of the so-called white man. Okay, it says how much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she had said in her heart, I sit a queen and I'm no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall the plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord, power who judgeth her. Okay, you can see here how quickly and easily the Lord Yahweh Shemashai, destroy Esau's kingdom. Okay, and they're proud. They get their space weapon, their medicine, their AI, and all of this stuff. And just like that, the Lord proved a point. You can be just taken out in just 1 hour, 60 minutes, just like that. Okay, so this has been the Lord Yahweh Shemashai can destroy Esau at will. Okay, so all we're doing is just waiting patiently. We have a job to do that we will set out that Mashiach has given us, okay, which is what the mission is, to go out there and preach his gospel across the earth, okay, through the means of the internet, okay, YouTube especially, other platforms, and then go on the highway and the byway to show, your faith, okay, and, wait for the deliverance. Other than that, okay, Esau time is run out, okay, so he has a very short time left. Lord willing, that was satisfied. Let us by giving all glory and honor to Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.